Hey chums, OD here, and I am very excited. We finally have a release date for Hiveswap Act 1. The game will be dropping September 14th, just 2 short weeks away, which means that while I'm going to keep working on Homestuck Explained, I'm also going to be doing Hiveswap lore videos. I'm gonna give it some time since I'm sure there's gonna be a lot to uncover and I want the game to have a chance to sink in before I start delving into spoiler territory on here, but I did want you guys to know what I have in mind for the future. Now while we're here, I wanted to dig into a few things the trailers for Hiveswap have already shown us, and let you guys know what I'm already interested in and what I'll be looking for when the game drops. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, I'm hoping that by pointing out connections you might have missed, I'll get you more excited about Hiveswap. Two, most of my viewers here probably don't know that I publish a lot of writing on Homestuck on Tumblr and Medium besides these videos. I swear I didn't plan this, but it turns out a couple of those are relevant to what we've seen in Hiveswap, so this is a neat little way to compile those points for those of you interested. And third, since some of what I've written is met with skepticism quite often, putting my thoughts out here before Hiveswap drops will hopefully help those of you who want to put my ideas under scrutiny know where I'm coming from. To be clear, I don't really like doing quote-unquote theory crafting or predictions because the only constant with Webpumpkin is their ability to surprise me and I like it that way. This is more about broad themes in Homestuck that already seem to be surfacing in Hiveswap, so let's dig in. There are 3 main things I'm keeping an eye out in Hiveswap right now, numbered from least to most immediately interesting. First up, there's Joey and Jude's pa, otherwise known as Jake Harley, Jade's grandpa from Homestuck. What many fans don't know is that the Chaos of Pa's massive Adventurers collection has some rhyme and reason behind it. See, in another life, Jake is one of Homestuck's main characters, Jake English. This Jake grows up with a group of online friends, Jane Crocker, Roxy Lalonde, and Dirk Strider, who he associates with blue ladies, dead things and mummies, and knights and katanas, respectively. Andrew Hussey has confirmed the connection between Grandpa's interests and his former friends in the author's commentary for Book 3 of Homestuck, suggesting that Grandpa has memories that transcend alternate universes. And as it turns out, Hiveswap's even expanded the scope of Grandpa's character here to pretty hilarious effect. I am, of course, talking about the sexy horse dude statue. Hear me out. See, Jake English gets involved in a contentious but ultimately mutual and passionate relationship with Dirk Strider, and Dirk has some notably eccentric tastes. But no stranger to weird shit himself, it seems Jake has picked up his best boyfriend's interest in horses and really buff horse dudes to lavish extremes. Well done. But between these apparent alternate memories preparing for the apocalypse and a whole host of unhealthy behavior, Paul has never seemed like a character that's all that well adjusted or happy. So I want to know what Pa's state of mind is emotionally, and whether these memories affected his relationship with his fellow guardians in this life, his mysterious wife, A. Claire, or possibly even Jude and Joey themselves. It'll be interesting to see what Hiveswap tells us about him, since we got little explicit confirmation about any of the Guardians' thoughts in Homestuck proper. This is at the bottom of the list since Act 1 is mostly going to be focused on Alternia. I'm mostly expecting information of this out of the later acts or haunt switch. Moving on to item 2, we've got The Neverending Story. Homestuck draws a lot of inspiration from other works, but the 1979 novel by Michael Ende might be one of the comic's biggest influences, to the point that entire character arcs loosely mirror the book's plot, and Orin, the famous Twin Ouroboros amulet that makes wishes come true, is given an immense place of importance in the comic's setting. Hiveswap itself has a couple of references to both the book and the movie, but most interesting to me is the Sheriff Key, which features the same red-green spiral that the Sheriffs have already associated with Orin and Homestuck proper. And that's about it as far as that goes. I'm not looking for anything specific right now, but given how much impact the story had on the comic, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for its mark on Hiveswap's approach to storytelling. Lastly, number 1 on my list is probably Classpects. And let me cut the Hiveswap isn't going to be about Spurb comments at the head. The Alpha Kids introductions already gave us the classes and aspects for those characters through sly metatextual nods, way before their actually playing Spurb was relevant. Given that the fandom already applies Classpects to everything under the sun, including stories that have nothing to do with Homestuck, I think it's a little silly to assume it's impossible Webcomic could do the same thing with their own property. This is even before we get into the fact that non-Spurred players have already developed Classpect powers in the comic, and that Doc Scratch, who often thinks in Classpect terms, is already involved in Hiveswap's plot. There's like a million ways to sneak this shit in, guys. I have a few guesses as to the Classpects of the characters the trailers have already shown us. It's likely Trizza will be linked to life, just because troll empresses have kind of cornered the market on that aspect. Joey seems a bit connected to the light aspect, given her star symbol shirt, using flashlights as a weapon, and this fun little UI thing she displays in combat that looks oddly like a sun symbol of some kind. Jude seems quite likely to be a Doom player, what with his caution and danger signs, conspiracy theories, and general focus on gloomy threats. On top of that, his weapon is a flare gun, a tool meant to signal danger or someone in need of rescue. It also has flammable properties, fire being one of the most prominent Doom symbols. Dammit, I don't think we know enough about to say, but there's a particular character I'm interested in Classpect-wise, and that's Zephyros. Specifically, I'm keeping an eye out for his interest in butlers, and this is gonna need a bit of setup. In my series of essays looking into Homestuck's class system, I argue that the comic marks pairs of classes not only through the verb they share, describing the class's function, but also through common archetypes that the comic references at various points, tying two classes together mythologically. Maids and sylphs get fairies, witches and heirs get magicians, seers and mages get prophets, and knights and pages get two such figures, warriors and butlers. Suffice it to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Zephyros' interest in butlers results in behavior similar to that of Homestuck's knight characters. But there's a catch. See, in these essays I also argue for the existence of something like a roleplay system, where different characters attempt to imitate both the cultural image and the mechanics of classes which are not necessarily their own. A good example of this is Vriska's behavior in Act 5, where she attempts to emulate a fairy, matching the sylph class of her mythological hero Mindfang. This doesn't end well for anybody involved. But as far as Hiveswap speculation is concerned, that means we're stuck. Is Zephyros' interest in butlering indicative of him being a knight or page class player? Or is it a mythological impression that's been left on him? One he'll have to outgrow or come to terms with in some way, as he discovers his true strengths? There's no way to say at this point, obviously. But as Zephyros' arc grows over the course of Hiveswap, I'll be interested in how his relationship to butlering develops, and what that might mean for the system of Classpecting at large. It's possible I'll find myself validated or thoroughly torn down by the plot's development, though I have to be honest and say I feel pretty confident. Either way, the one thing I'm sure of is it'll be a fun ride. Thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of this video. Let me know if you did in the comments, or drop by my Patreon Discord server or the r/Hiveswap subreddit in Discord to let me know. That's gonna do it for now, so I'll see you again soon, and until then, keep rising.